I gotta go over this. I'll call him.
Oh, I can get
Folks, before we get started, we do have a capacity, we may be a little bit over the fire marshal thing, but I'm not going to say anything. Okay? So, that said, in the event of emergency, council, these people up here, you'll exit through out to the pool area. That has been unlocked. You folks will go out that way. Everybody else on this side will go out the back door just in case. Better be safe and sorry. Okay?
Well, thank you for getting everybody's attention. We'll go ahead and open our public hearing for this evening. Just to remind everybody, our public hearing tonight is in regards to the budget. We will hear anybody's input about budget subject only. You can have 2 to 3 minutes tops to address the council. I would ask you that you address your comments to the council and not to the audience. And to keep your comments nice. We're not here to attack anybody's character or anything like that. So with that being said, if you have anything you would like to address to this body, please tell us what your name is, and you have 2 to 3 minutes. District? Yeah. Do you want us to start now? I have a gentleman who's coming forward. Tell me what your name is, what district you're from, if you know that.
I do not, but I am Coy Rogers.
Okay.
Hello, council members. I'm Coy Rogers, and I just graduated from Moore County High School. I transferred here just for senior year from community. Community, as it implies in its name, is supposed to be a tight-knit group of people there for one another, but it was far from it. Moore County High School and the people that go and support the school taught me what a true community is. From the Friday night lights and every person coming to support, to just signing day when people I've never even seen wanted to congratulate an athlete. The school has something special about it. At community, there was division among all my peers. No one got along, dodgy looks in the hallways, fights, you name it. At Moore County, it's not perfect, but it is just a happy place for every student alike. From Miss Dye putting a smile on your face when you walk in, to Miss Henshaw just being goofy, all the way to Coach Buchanan making history fun again, the school has that spark. The kids in the hallways all laughing and genuinely getting along with one another showed me what a real school should look like. It didn't feel like you had those it kids. We were all the same, and everyone knew that. We stepped in to help one another when needed, as they would be there for you. You may be wondering why I made the switch for senior year. I had it made, and not to toot my own horn, but I was a kid at community everyone liked, but I hated the division. I moved here because as I led the student section for basketball games before I came here, I saw what a real community is. Moore County isn't a school. It's a place, a getaway even, for safety and happiness for many kids. The teachers can say what they want. It's their job to teach us. But don't take it from someone who is supposed to join their job making an undeserving amount of money. Take it from someone who dreaded school, someone who showed up late to his classes at his old school. I woke up 30 minutes earlier than what I usually would to drive 35 minutes to a school out in the middle of nowhere, all because this place, and for many other students, was our happy place. Don't take from a place where kids can just be kids and have a real safe place. If these potential budget cuts came a year earlier, leading to fewer teachers and larger class sizes, there may not have been a space for me at a spot that changed my life. As someone who also wants to be a future educator at Moore County High School, which was not my plan at all before I moved here, by the way, I love this place and the people that make it. So I know taxes are a big part of this issue, but regardless of what happens tonight, there will be a tax, either a tax on property or a tax on progress. I hope we decide to plan our future now rather than regret our past later. Thank you.
My name's Regina Adcock. I'm in the 5th District. Thank you, Jill. And I do want to tell you, all your council members, I thank you very much for your service. I thank the policemen. I love Moore County. I've lived in Moore County most of my life, so I'm a homebred. But my thing is not about the increases, because everyone deserves it. I don't think any of you make enough as it is. My thing is the property tax. How can we sustain when we need increased revenue every year? How can we sustain continuing to do the property taxes? My question is, are there other alternatives that we can get together as a community and do that? I mean, and then, you know, like last year on the 24-25 budget, you had said we had a healthy budget. So my question is, did we have any residual from that, from 24-25 that we could carry over? And what were the plan to the actuals? I actually have more questions than I do anything tonight, because this is my first time here, and I should have been involved, but I just didn't know. You know, I don't have any children here now or anything, so I don't work in Moore County. So I have more questions, and my question is, I know you probably have to approve something in the near future because you've got a new budget, but shouldn't there be a trade study, a committee put together to see if there's other alternatives for us? Because we cannot, especially those that's on fixed incomes and lower incomes, we can't continue to carry it all with a budget increase every year. So my question is, how can I be part of the solution that we can come up with something other than raising the taxes all the time? And the teachers, my children went to Moore County, and I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all deserve more than you're ever going to get, okay? And thank you. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Eric Strothide. I live in Marble Hill Road. I just have a few questions that are just rhetorical questions. I'm not really looking for an answer. But with our current taxes right now, such as our police, fire, and ambulance time, if I call for somebody, it's like a 20-minute answer, which I'm acceptable to because I live in Moore County. It's a rural county. That's why I live here. I love this place. I moved, bought my property in 1999. But I'm also lucky enough, my stepmother left me a home in Tullahoma. Whenever they called the police, 3 to 5 minutes. They called the ambulance, 3 to 5 minutes. If I do it, it's 20 minutes. Is that going to change if our taxes go up? And if taxes are raised, where is that money going to go to? And this, I know no one on this council, so this is not a personal attack on anyone here, but I would just, a question, if you called every single person in the county and everybody said taxes, do not raise them, no. Do you vote with your conscience or do you vote with the people what they request? That's all I have. Thank you very much. Oh, I'd also like to say I'm 64. I'm on fixed income also. I'm disabled. I don't look it, I got, everything needs to be replaced, getting some knee surgery next week, but I can't really say that I can afford it all that well, Tim. Thank you.
I'm Albert Carpenter, 5th District. I've been with the Sheriff's Department now for 41 years altogether, sergeant with them. The topic I guess I'm going to ask, speak on, will be in regards to our retirement. I know this has hit on y'all on a hard year. My heart goes out to you in that. Y'all all know the different ways that I've tried in the county, so my blessings go out to you. I do want to point out, one is, I know that there's a letter that's been 3 years old, but I'm also holding a grievance that I turned into the county almost 21 and a half years ago. We were chartered government then. We had been a chartered government. I went through it. I spoke to Mr. John T. Bobo. He was the county attorney at the time. Ms. Peggy Gaddis was the county executive. She's no longer with us. It sort of fell at a tragic time. I hate that, but I will say it was on the table 21 years ago. I'm not here asking for this to be a cutthroat type thing between the school and what I'm asking, because it's two separate things altogether. My wife works at school and she loves it. Part of what I just showed you, the reason that I am in somewhat of uniform tonight, that goes with my job, is because of this. I think this was a business askings. Otherwise, I'd just be standing here in front of you as a citizen. On the citizen side, I do appreciate everything that y'all can do. I know that y'all can only do what you possibly can. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to add in response to the
Tell us what your name is.
sorry, Sierra Trestle, and I live on Old Middle Highway. I just wanted to add in response to the EMS and police response times that was mentioned. I don't know about out in the county, but I manage the pool, and our protocol is that for every time we pull anybody out of the water, we call EMS. It doesn't matter if they say they're okay, they don't need anybody, they can refuse service to EMS, not to my lifeguards. And it has never been more than literally minutes, less than 5 minutes for response time for any of those situations.
I'm Walter Mullins, been in the county now for about 45 years, something like that. Moved out of Tullahoma on account of taxes up there were getting ridiculous. Now I come down here, and this last year and this year, my taxes have increased by 35%. And I'm not in favor of this other tax y'all put in now. And my house last year was appraised at $78,500, house and property. This year, it's appraised at $161,000. No improvement's been made on it, nothing's been done to it, but yet taxes went up twofold. So I think that this tax y'all propose is totally ridiculous, because we just got a big, like I said, I got the papers right here from Lynn Harrison today, showing me what my taxes were in 23 and now in 24, and that's what they are. And I found out today too that my tax rate is going to go up $81 next year over this year. This year it was over $650. This year it's going to be over $700. And so I'm not in favor of this tax hike, and I think y'all need to think close to it about it, especially for people like me and a third of these people in this room. It's on Social Security, and it's all the income we have. So you can either cut us out or count us in. But we're the backbone of this damn community anyway. So you have a good day.
Brenda Russell. Had not planned to say anything, but since nobody else is getting up, I want all of you to know, all of you teachers, I don't know any of you, but I know that the children and their brothers and their dads appreciate all of you, because I know y'all are probably good people, or you wouldn't be around here. But my problem is our taxes. I am single with a woman, and I try to work and do the best I can, try to keep my property up. And I would like to know how that when we only get a small increase in our Social Security every year, that when our taxes come due, it cuts into that. So I'm just asking to analyze some way that we can improve on our taxes for this county. There are counties that have a fixed tax on people that I understand that are maybe disabled and after they're retired. I don't know why we can't maybe look at that and see if we can save on people that are on fixed incomes, their taxes. So I just appreciate y'all for meeting every month, and I want to encourage everybody. I've never seen this many people here. I used to come by myself, and I thought, well, I'm just bucking up against a stone wall, but I appreciate y'all coming, and I think you need to still come even when it's not something that maybe pertains to you, because that's what this county is made of, is people. So I just ask that y'all consider these things that I'm asking, to maybe have a fixed tax rate for people that's disabled, elderly, and on fixed income. So I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
My name's Colt Wells. I'm not real sure what district I'm from, but I am going to say this. I graduated from Moore County in 2013. Whenever I was going to school, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And I don't think that I would have been able to get where I'm at today if it wasn't for all the teachers that are behind me. That I have the job that I have today thanks to them. And I know everybody struggles. I got 3 kids and 1 on the way. It's hard. It is. It's hard for everybody around here. We all understand it. We all feel the pain. But we gotta, my kids are about to come into school. I gotta do what I gotta do for them. Everybody's got kids. Everybody feels the struggle and the pains. But we don't need to neglect our future to spot our nose, I guess is the best way to say it. You don't need to. That's all I gotta say.
I just wanted to ask a question. Do y'all take a poll as to who begins to move forward, or you just do the, I'm so sorry, Frank.
A poll for,
To see how many's against and how many's for, and is that what you do at the end, or you just go through the
in the public hearing you're talking about?
Yes, yes,
No,
yes.
public hearing is
Okay,
just
that's
for
all.
public input.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cody Lanier. I'm a deputy here at the Sheriff's Office in Moore County. I've been here 3 years. Within that 3 years, or what I want to talk about, within that 3 years, I've seen people come and go. I've been here 3 years, and I'm already an FTO training people. And that's the hardest thing, to train new guys and then have them leave. We're losing people. I'm with the 5th District. I don't know which one's my council's. There we go. But I've lived in the county for 2 years. I'm not from Tennessee. I grew up in Pennsylvania, a small town, just like Lynchburg. Graduated with 68 kids. I love this county, but we have to keep our people. I pay taxes. Yes, it's gonna hurt. We gotta make it work though for the law enforcement to keep our people. The retirement helps us retain people, and if we lose people, it helps us bring in other seasoned officers instead of starting fresh. So every time we start fresh, we're training that new person that's never been in law enforcement. We need that help. Okay? That's all I gotta say. Thank y'all.
I'm Danielle Torres. I'm the lead District 1. I wasn't going to come up here and talk, but I was compelled to because I have 3 kids in Moore County schools. I graduated with one of your members here, and I loved Moore County schools. I wasn't from here originally, but my kids are 3rd generation to go here. My oldest is in FFA, and she absolutely loves it. They actually had a 10% growth in their FFA program this year and got recognized at the state convention for it. And if it wasn't for a teacher that fought for them and wanted to grow that program, then we wouldn't have it the way that we do. And we're an agricultural county. I mean, you have to have these kids passionate about growing in these communities. Not only that, my 2nd oldest is in band, and if they can't get the funds and can't find the teachers, then our band program is gone. And I know that the tax increase is hard, and I'm not saying that anything negative because I have a grandmother that is on a fixed income as well, and I completely understand that. And I hate that, but at the last meeting, it really hit me hard when Bradley said that it's our job as the younger generation to take care of those people and step up for for the older generation. And that takes a community. And I don't foresee our community being who we are to allow anybody to lose their home for a tax increase. And I just hope that all of you look and see that these kids deserve what we had growing up. They deserve to be able to grow in a community and want to stay here and want to move forward and make our community even better the same way that we did. That's all. Thanks.
Wendy Hart, I think I'm in the 1st district, I believe. And I also work for the school system, full disclosure, and I've been here, this is gonna be my 29th year. I've seen Moore County come a long ways. I've seen us from going from having very little programs in our school system to now we have a whole lot to offer. I was not gonna speak tonight at all, because everybody knows that I'm for the schools. That's there. So I'm not gonna speak on behalf of the schools, I'm gonna speak on behalf of the county. Because whether you're elderly, or whether you're young, or whether you're whatever, we are attacking our public servants. From our law enforcement, to our EMS, to our school teachers. We have got to provide for them. And we are if we don't do these things, we're going to lose really, really good people. And you were talking, the gentleman was talking about 20 minutes or 25 minutes to get an EMS call. My mother does not live in Moore County. She lives in Texas. She lives in the middle of town, about from here to where I live. Everybody knows where Woodard's is. She died last year in Texas, living in the middle of town. She had a seizure for 25 minutes while my sister and her children sat there trying to help her. Because they had one ambulance. They did not even have law enforcement show up until after the ambulance got there, because that's all they allow for their community. And that ambulance was in another town because they share one ambulance among all these other towns in the community. That is trauma that my nephews have to deal with now after watching my mother, who was their caregiver, die like that. And when after I saw my mom in the hospital, thankfully I made it there before she died. But y'all just don't even know. I kept thinking about all these people that I work with on a daily basis. I'm over school safety, so I work with these law enforcement officers. I work with the EMS. I'm there. I was there when one of my students had a seizure for the first time ever. And I didn't know what to do. But that EMS and our SRO officer, they were in there to help this kid. And then after he left, then I lost it because I didn't know. I'm not equipped for that kind of stuff. And I say all this to say we have a great community and we have really, really good people. And I personally have worked with a lot of these people. I've worked with probably pretty much all of the EMS. I have worked with all the law enforcement officers. I've worked with all the teachers. I've worked with all the administrators for the last 29 years. And we have good folks. And I don't want to see our good folks leave. I don't have a dog in the race. I'm going to be retired after this year, so I'm done. I have elderly parents who are also on fixed income, but they support this. They support our systems, and they know it's coming. They're not here to speak, but I'm speaking for them because we've had long conversations about it. My dad's a retired farmer. He does not have a big, huge chunk of change coming in every month, but he is for this. So I think we need to count our blessings on what we've got. And I think we need to keep it. And it's our duty to keep it. And it's for the community.
Can I speak again, because I think maybe something I said might have been misunderstood.
Sure.
Again, my name is Eric Hyde, and I live in Moore County on Marble Hill Road. I've just got 3 taxes, one from Franklin County, one from Tullahoma, and one from mine. What I was talking about for the police to fire an ambulance wasn't a complaint. It was a question as to if things go up, are they going to improve? Are we going to get more ambulances and fire and things distributed more to where the time is quicker? I'm not complaining about anything about it at all. I just want to know if our taxes go up, is it going to be taxation without representation, or are we going to see the results from the taxes? It's just a question. I'm not complaining about the 20-minute wait because I love it here. I'm okay with that. That's why I'm not living in Nashville. I won't live there. I want to live here. If I die here because I'm waiting for an ambulance, so be it. But I'm just curious if things go up. Our prices go up, everything goes up. Are things going to change for people like me living in I don't quite understand how, I live in a geodesic dome, if anybody knows what that is. Most people don't want to live one because they're different, but they've assessed me at saying it's worth $347,000. I don't see it. Just curious. If taxes go up, are we going to see results? That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Brooke Lindsay, District 30. I'm the principal at Lynchburg Elementary School, but I've been in the system for 21 years. I just, listening to Ms. Hart just made me want to talk about this story that lots of people know about, but we were headed to a, oh goodness, we had an assembly in the office when I worked at high school. we had an assembly in the high school. We were all walking, and I had a student fall on my feet. And of course, I turn over and I'm like, what's going on? I roll him over, and it's worse than I think. It's not a seizure. He's having a heart attack or something. He's blue. So of course, I have a student right beside me. The kids go, they're amazing. They push all the kids back. I have a student call 911. SRO comes, and then the principal, Brad Sanders. Well, that's when Justin Grogan was there. Do you know how many times I have done CPR training with Justin Grogan and Brad Sanders? With the help of our law enforcement officers and our EMT. I mean, as long as I've been doing it, we've had to do it. And it just worked like clockwork. And I'm pretty sure he was on the ambulance headed to Vanderbilt. Was it 7.5 minutes? Something like that. It was a miracle. And he was saved, and it was great. But I just, you forget how many people it takes for everything to work. And it takes all of us. And it is going to be hard, I agree with everybody. But obviously, people believed in me. I was from here. I've been here. Didn't have, no one had graduated college in my family. I've got 8 years of college. That's why I get paid more. A lot of people saw our salaries. But it's because I went back to school, I went back to school, I went back to school. That's the only way. And that, when we walked into education, that's how you knew you had to get a raise. Plus, I love to learn. I always want to learn. And that's why I'm in the position I'm in. Thank you for all that you guys do. I know it's hard. I know this is a difficult time. But I'm there to support you. And thank you for listening.
May I add something to what I said?
No, excuse me. We're at the end of our time. If there's anybody else who has not had a chance to speak and who would like to, now is the opportunity to do that. If there isn't anyone who wants to speak who hasn't had the chance to yet, we're going to close our public hearing and open a different one. So last call. Anybody else for input for public hearing on the budget? Okay, we will close our public hearing at this time, and in 1 minute we'll open our public hearing on the rezoning of some property. So 1 minute.
Thank you. Arkansas played Murray. That may be old. Arkansas beat Murray. Winners winner of that place goes. Yeah, I didn't realize they
Okay, if I could have your attention again, I know that's been more than a minute, but we'll open our second public hearing for this evening. This is in regards to property that is being rezoned. This is 0.07 acres from C2 to I1. This is the Howell Street property, I believe, yes, 26 Howell Street, that is going to be rezoned from C2 to I1. If there's no public input for that rezoning, we'll close that public hearing and we will go right into our regular council meeting. We'll have our opening by Sheriff Tyler Hatfield. We'll have our Pledge of Allegiance led by Bradley Dye, and we'll have our invocation from Greg Gwynn.
All rise. Council now in session, Chair Amy Cashin presiding.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come tonight. Lord, we pray for everyone that's in this meeting, council and the public. Lord, we love you. We know we're a community and we're all pulling for our community, and that's why we're here. We just ask that we would honor you in our decisions. We pray for everyone that leaves tonight to give them safe travel home, and we just ask that you would be with us in everything we do, and we'll give you the praise and honor. Amen. Amen.
Okay, Ms. Lacy, if you could give us roll call, please.
Shane Taylor,
Peggy Sue Blackburn. Here. Houston Lindsay.
Here.
Douglas Carson.
Here.
John Taylor.
Here.
Greg Gwynn.
Here.
Robert Bracewell.
Here.
Daryl Richards.
Here.
Marty Cashin.
Here.
Bradley Dye.
Here.
Harvest Bobo.
Here.
Amy Cashin.
Here.
Dexter Golden.
Here.
Gerald Burnett.
Here.
Jimmy Hammond.
Here.
Everybody's here. We do have a quorum. Should have received in your packet a copy of the minutes from the May meeting. Will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll take Peggy's second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do have a couple of things we need to add to the agenda for tonight. We have Brittany Burton for notary bond and Marcia Manley Hale for notary bond. We'll add those under elections and appointments. Is there a motion to add those?
I'll make a motion.
So Greg with the motion,
I'll second.
Ms. Peggy Sue with the second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We also have, under public comment, we need to add Tom Dugan. Tom Dugan. We'll add that as number 2 under public comment. Is there a motion to add that?
I'll make a motion to add public comment.
Robert with the motion to add.
I'll second it.
Peggy Sue with the second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, so under public comment, we have Miss Connie Taylor, who would like to address the council. Miss Connie?
I had no idea I would be public speaking tonight like this. And I promise we won't take but just a short time. Hopefully this will be uplifting to you. But Bill and I, we have been taking care of the county building grounds on each side, down there the front, the entrance, where we've always got everything decorated for the seasons. We've been doing that for several years in memory of Anthony. Anthony Taylor, a lot of you probably don't even know Billy and I or our son Anthony. But he passed away 31 years ago last month. But we've been doing that a long, long time in his memory. So that's worked out great for us and the community too. But we're getting older, our health's not as good, so we're gonna need to return this to the county for their upkeep and all. But we appreciate it so much, more than you'll ever know. And we were gonna put something in the newspaper to thank the public and the community too. Thank y'all for all your encouragement and support. So that's about all I have. But hopefully, y'all have enjoyed all the decorations over the years too. And thanks for letting us do that. The ones that have been elected since way back, Miss Peggy was in office. And the shrubs had got so nasty and diseased, I don't know if anybody knows it, but they jerked them all out and they left the barren ground there. So Peggy called me one day, I said I wasn't gonna take long. Peggy called me one day and wanted to know what kind of flowers or bushes would do well there. I'm the flower lady, in case y'all don't know, in Moore County. So I told her, give me a little bit of time and let me think about it. So I called her back, and for some reason that just popped in my mind that it would be good for us to do that, because it would be good, beneficial for everybody. She said, well, I'll ask the board and see what they say. So she called me back. So we've changed the shrubs from time to time, but we just hope everybody has enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Madam Chairperson, some of you may know and may not, Anthony was in the military. Upon his passing 31 years ago. I have asked Brenda Hanna, the UT Extension Office, and some of her ladies and gentlemen in her 4-H club to try to keep this garden up in his honor in the future.
Perfect.
So, Connie, Biddy, that's what we're trying to work with Brenda on this, to keep something going.
Okay, if we could have Mr. Tom Dugan to come to the podium.
He called that, the map that we received from Marcia Manley Hale last month about closing down the square. Tom Dugan was the one that developed that and was going to ask the council if that would be the standard routes that we would, so we would close down and leave the side of the square with the stoplight open so that buses could travel in front of Farmers Bank and out of the square, and only close down the 3 sides for every event, with the exception of the barbecue. Because I don't know why he called and asked me to get him on the agenda, but it doesn't look like he's here. But that's what he wanted to talk about, so we don't have to vote on that
Maybe
tonight.
next time.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know who he is.
Okay, moving on to elections and appointments. We have Cody Gass for notary bond, Brittany Burton, notary bond, and Marcia Manley Hale for notary bond.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Shane Taylor and a second.
I'll second.
You got it. Houston, second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to new business. So we're all here for budget for 25-26. Is there a motion for budget?
Can I make a statement before we do that? So, early last week, we got some information from the state about the TCRS retirement plan. Several years ago, we asked for a study to what it would take to get all county employees in that program. We're one of the few counties in the whole state that has part of our county workforce not in it, and so we wanted to see if we could do that. We had some COVID funding that we were going to set aside to try to help pay for that, but we had no idea how much it was going to be. Just this past week, we got that information back from CTAS, and the total amount to do that is $4.8 million. So The reason it's 4.8 million is they have to go back and fund the entire retirement plan from the day the employees started work. So you can't just pay for it now and go forward. You have to fund it from the very beginning. So we've looked at two different scenarios of 1.5 million down payment and then amortize the rest over 10 years. And then we've also looked at a $1.1 million lump sum payment to try to figure out how to do this. The fact is it requires about 10 cents to fund this amount, which is about $500,000 a year over 10 years. The plan right now that we talked about in the budget committee, we wanted to present to the council to vote on, is to take the tax rate that we had proposed last time and went through the first reading, move 10 cents into the general fund, and then take 4 cents out of debt service. And so essentially it would be a 6 penny increase in the property tax rate from what we approved as second reading or first reading last month. There's also some other changes we're trying to make to reduce the cost impact to the county, but that's basically it. The retirement plan would go in place on January 1, 2026. And so that's where we're at. We really did not have a lot of time to work on this because we just got it. But if we're going to do this, that's one of the ways that we could fund the TCRS for all county employees. Any questions about that? So if you take this tax sheet that you got in our packet, instead of 1.4712, it would be 1.8012 is the tax rate.
Would you repeat that?
Instead of the total general service district of 1.7412, it would be 1.8012. The debt service would go from 0.1774 to 0.1374, and the general fund at the top there would be 0.7689.
So are you making a motion to increase the tax levy and add this pension plan, or just discussing?
I'm giving you some information. If somebody wants to make a motion, that would be fine.
Do we have to make a motion to add it, or do we have to make a motion to handle it?
Okay, so the process would be that we would have to make a motion, and this would be a first reading for that budget. Okay? So then if we approve that, then we would have to follow up in July with a second reading for that amended budget. Now, if we don't approve this, then we'll drop back and we'll discuss the second reading of the original budget.
I'll make a motion we amend the original budget and add the 6 cents for the county retirement to be included in the first reading of the budget.
I'll second it.
do have a motion and a second for a different tax levy than we had last month. So this is first readings. Motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion?
I am for a retirement plan. The mayor will tell you I am, the sheriff will tell you I am, but I cannot support this big of an increase. But I want it to be known that I worked at the Sheriff's Department and Animal Service, and I've been on this council 3 times. I understand about retirement. That's why I left here. I made the choice to leave here. But I can't support this big of a tax.
So you made the statement, there were some other options. What are we looking at?
Did I say we had other options?
Thought you did.
I think we just got it, honestly, so we really haven't had a chance to dig in and try to figure out other ways potentially to fund it. And we're gonna keep trying to figure out how to make this work some way. Whether we pass this tonight or not, I think Sloan and all of us are trying to figure out how to take care of the county employees. So we think this would be a good thing for the county to get this in place, and so we're gonna keep working it. So I would say this is gonna be dead if we don't pass it, because we put there's a lot of people put a lot of work into trying to get this set up and get to this number, and we think it's valuable for the retention that was discussed earlier, and honestly, Moore County is one of the few in the state that doesn't have it. So I think when we're competing for resources, this is something we need. So I don't know what the other options might be. I know we're talking about several different things. And Sloan, I don't know if you want to bring up anything.
Let me just go ahead. I've got a meeting Wednesday morning with the municipal bond fund where we refinance the school and the garbage truck. I've got a meeting with them Wednesday morning, CTAS and some lawyers and the other department heads of moving forward with this. This is short, I agree. We got this like June 3rd, but we could not walk away and not introduce it. Wednesday morning, I've met with department heads, I've met with Tyler about coming before this with a municipal bond fund of doing a outright amortization schedule through the bond fund, and I'm gonna break it simple, just like you was buying a car. It will be set up on a 10 to 15 year amortization schedule, which could help us. I don't know the term, I don't even know the principal or interest in it right now. But it gets us away from the Department of Treasury. I think when dealing with the Department of Treasury on the 4.8 million, I think we're almost kind of double dipping. I think we're kind of paying them twice because we realize that people are gonna retire when this goes into place. But with the Department of Treasury kind of way, and I'm not gonna say that I'm the only one, but we kind of look at it that we're still gonna be paying on some of the, through the Department of Treasury, it's gonna be figured in. Is it gonna lower our payments? No. Any money we can save and put on this for the future will come off the back end. So if it's a 12 year or 15 year and we put money in it each time, it can back up. Our term limit could back up. One other thing about looking at this amortization schedule through the municipal bond fund, when we're dealing with the Department of Treasury, I can't come in there and say that Jack Daniel is gonna give us a contribution on bottles. I can't go in there and say that the water department has got some extra funds to throw in it. I can't say the highway has got extra funds to throw in it because they're only gonna look at the tax dollar. The municipal bond fund, we have a little leniency on how our funds come about. It's a complicated situation. the 4.0 don't just affect the employees, it's the whole county in general. But Wednesday morning, we're going in and try to work on this. I don't know, I wish I had that crystal ball, but I don't know. But that's the plan right now, going forward, either tonight, whatever happens tonight, either yay or nay, Wednesday morning, we've got a meeting set up with them to continue down the road. You know, we're probably gonna ask that we discuss with some employees, I'm not saying this is in stone, but somewhere down the road, there could be, their raise could go away to help find some of this funding on this. So, it is not dead by no means, but we can't, Wednesday's the first day that I'll get introduced a little more in depth. It's gonna come back to the budget committee sometime in July. There's gonna be meetings, there's gonna be discussions, then it will come to the council. We have got a 3-month time limit to work on this, to get this approved, and then, you know, this could go in effect in January. We're trying to keep part of that 1 million or that 1.5 million. We're trying not to end all of our capital cash right now. We're gonna run scenarios on what we can feel like we're capable of putting down on this. Then we'll do our amortization schedule. If we can retain part of this capital project money, which is ARPA money that everybody's heard of, that, you know, we can apply it to this the first year. So I can't say that there won't be a tax increase down the road, but it could be a minimum as we move forward, because when we start getting a little growth and a little more, you know, income, hopefully off of some sales tax or the investment income, you know, there's ways that we may look at that down in the future. But what I want to tell the employees, either yes or no tonight, it is not a dead subject, that we're going to come back and continue to work hard on this, but Wednesday's the first day I get to have the first initial meeting.
Is that guaranteed that it will go through?
Ain't nothing going to be guaranteed.
Who all will this affect as far as employees? Is it full-time, part-time?
No, only full-time only. Part-time they're not eligible, no.
Anybody that has retired from the county?
No. Employed today.
How long do they have to be employed by the county before they're eligible for it?
It's a brain dead time. It's 5 years.
Invested in
5 years. But if you retired, you're not eligible. That's when the check is written. Let me not say today, but if we enter this, if you're still employed, then that's it. But you can't retire today and pick up in January. Is that what you're getting, Jimmy?
What is the current retirement benefit for county employees? Like, don't we do like is it not a 401k match?
It's a 401, 457, and it's a 3% match to the county. Let me clarify it. So for the employee to see a benefit, they have to be vested in the program, which takes 5 years to be vested. So for them to receive a benefit from it, they would have to stay for 5 years. But for those that have been here for 2 years or whatever, their service is there as well.
Is that 5 cumulative years or consecutive?
Typically, it's consecutive. But so if you're in a system for another agency and you leave prior to being vested, your dollars stay there. The municipality or county, whichever you worked for, their dollars would not. They could rescind those, but your contribution would stay there. But so once you picked up on employment somewhere else, those years of service would continue to build from that.
So the county's currently doing 3%, and this, is it gonna be the 9% pension plan? Like, is it 9% of your ending salary or your last 5 years' salaries?
There's a massive formula on how the benefit is calculated. What you're asking is what the county puts in per year? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and then the benefit to the employee, because right now the benefit is 3%.
Yeah, it's 3% of your salary per paycheck is basically what is figured, and the employee has to contribute in order for the county to contribute.
They do the 5.
Yeah, so with TCRS, the employee would have to contribute 5%, and the rate is actually what you all set at the last meeting. I believe it was like 5.78, something to that effect. That rate will can change a little bit. I think it was 5.85 the year before, and it was 5.78 this year.
It's voted on each year.
It's voted on each year. It's whatever the rate is set for the elected
Yep.
official retirement is the same rate that would be for this pool.
And then how many counties are in it?
When we had the meeting, it was 5.
All but 5. Any gotten out, or are they still, everybody that has gotten in it still in it?
We know that Coffee County got out within the last 12 months or
I
8
think
years.
it's been the last 3 years.
3
Coffee
years,
County
you know.
did come out.
I mean, I don't know what that reason was, but I know they came out, so
Do they still offer retirement, or do you know?
I don't know, Jimmy.
I'm sure they do, but I don't know what it is.
Is there another option that we've maybe run a parallel on for retirement investment, like a IRA or anything?
We have.
Is this, I guess what I'm asking, is this the best deal for the employees?
This one or the Wednesday one?
This one.
The TCRS, everywhere I've talked to, it is, I can't say, just that, you know, I don't know how you determine which one is gonna be the best and down the long run. But that's just what most of the counties and municipalities are involved with.
I guess the next question is, why are we looking at pulling from debt service to fund this off the bat? Because that's gonna rack up more money over that amortization period. And looking at our current interest rates ranging from like 4.35 to 4.77. At 4.5%, that's about 19K more a year. So over 10 years, you're looking at 190,000. So why wouldn't we, if we're gonna fund it instead of pay less on other debt?
I mean, we were just trying to make,
Minimize the
get
income.
a tax rate that we could afford possibly. We do have pretty sizable fund balance in debt service right now, but eventually we're gonna have more money to fund it. It's a 10-cent funding amount.
This might be a stupid question, but will this cover all elected officials as well?
Elected's already involved. And in the budget, as far as the annual yearly payment, the amortization is the big issue of it, because the county, you already have the county general, solid waste, utility, and highway department have already got budgeted money in for their retirement now. Is, where it is the 401s or 457, that goes away, and that money that's budgeted will roll back into the state retirement for the employees. And there's also the elected official line that's already, the two lines are already in the budget.
Have we looked at, after the initial buy-in period, whatever we amortize it for? So if we didn't have to do the initial buy-in, like, would we be paying more money after that? I'm not sure if this question's clear. Like, I'm not sure if it's making sense. Tell me
I
if
think it's the
not.
difference between 3% and 5%.
Okay.
I think it would be a little bit different.
So it would be more after we finished paying off that initial lump sum.
I would assume, I hadn't looked at it to be sure, but I think so.
On the county general side or the employee side?
From the counties, if we didn't have to do that initial buy-in, is this program going to cost the county more after we're fully
A lot of
involved?
that's gonna be based on how many retire off the bat, and then you have new employees come in, and you're gonna be looking at salaries. You have somebody retire, you may be bringing people in at a less salary. So that number's gonna be hard to determine year in, year out, because it's gonna fluctuate as people drop off the payroll.
Does this benefit get paid out to surviving relatives and like?
But that's all a pitch and plan, and we can't answer those questions.
It's how you would set it up.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can select whatever, just like your 401K.
Yeah.
You can select your beneficiaries and how you draw, and it affects the percentage that you would draw and the percentage that your spouse would draw upon your death and those kind of things.
So that's individual options?
Yes.
So you wouldn't call it Social Security 2.0.
It's about a 48-49% income replacement is what it is. It's a pension, and once you're eligible and you start to draw, it's a death benefit, so it stays with you until you die, or until you die and it goes the next level, however you have it.
Designated, yeah.
So I want to echo what Daryl said earlier. I've been in the public service as a fireman. I know what you give up for your families and for police officers and firemen and everybody. And I'm likewise, I'm for it, but it's tough because, you know, I don't know about everybody else, but for $50 a month, I'm watered down to about 5 cents now because of the calls, and I appreciate all the calls for and against. My question on this is, have we looked at maybe going to the 5% as a county, or is that something that would not do because it doesn't go back retro for the people that's been here 40 years? You know, if we could, I'm just trying to figure out a solution for everybody because I'm for it. I think you guys deserve it. Like I said, I've been there full-time for 10 years, and I know what you go through, but you know, I spoke to many of my district and people outside of my district in the last month, you know, and there's pros and cons, but have we looked at possibly, or is that something that, you know, if we're doing 3, could we look at maybe 2 to get it up to the 5%? Or is it like in the cases where they've been here 40 years? You see what I'm saying? I don't know how that would work, but if we looked at that, is that a possibility? I'm just asking a question to the board, and I guess any employees is, you know, how
Are
they
you
feel
talking
about
about the current system
Right.
that they're on? Instead of doing 3, change it to 5?
Correct.
I thought one of the benefits for going to TCRS was that their time of service from another county would apply.
That's the whole
and
question.
they wouldn't lose their retirement if they came here. Is one of the benefits I thought for going into that system. Not necessarily like the percentage difference, but just that if we don't participate in it, then they've lost basically those years of service.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah. Or that's the way I understood it.
It is, that's right.
That would be one of the draws
Well,
to do.
we're already doing 3% into an IRA.
Okay, are we gonna stay at 3 or?
Well, I'm just saying if we considered
Changing it
additional
to
2%, the tax versus $4.9 million or whatever it is, to go to that. It's just a question.
No, I was
Not
just,
emotional.
I was trying to understand what you were saying.
Right.
50% salary supplement after retirement is probably going to be superior to even a 5% match unless you do really, really well. I mean, you don't know about the market, but 50% salary supplement, you're not worried about that money changing year over year. So this sounds like, you know, unless you get the next Bitcoin or something.
I'm just asking.
If you had 30 years to retire, then you might have to work, but a lot of these folks have been working 25, 30 years and maybe not even participated in the 401k plan, and they may not have anything.
Yeah.
Would the employees be contributing to the pension plan at all?
Yeah, they have to contribute.
So
5%.
they contribute 5, okay.
Have to contribute 5.
And when it's offered, they have to take it
Yep.
as soon as it's offered. If you don't,
What if you don't? They employ
you cannot
still?
buy back into the TCRS if you're already employed.
Yeah.
We've run into that situation where I work. We have got people that's there, they had TCRS, they've got TCRS, but they didn't take it when it was offered. Now they can't buy it.
I think this is a lot bigger than what we're just talking about. I think it's very important. And my thought is this, this needs to be tied into the current budget, but I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. I think that Sloan's got some information he'll get Wednesday, Tuesday. I don't know. I think for some people, this is the first time you're hearing about this. For others, heard about it, I guess, since June, I don't know, or since a couple of months. I don't know what the answer is. I'm like y'all, I think this is great. We just need to figure out how to pay for it.
I think the initial buyback pretty well shocked the system. I think the 4.8 was a shocker. I think this has probably been going on for what, 3 years maybe? At least 3. And, you know, I mean, nobody knew what they really speculate. I guess maybe we shouldn't have been looking, thinking it was gonna be a smaller number. But this is a number that we didn't calculate, this number from Department of Treasury, you know. It is a big number. Kind of, I think, make everybody back up just a little bit. It's a big deal. And like I said, we got, I think the first stuff came in about June 3rd, and it took a year and a half to get the salaries, chasing employees down and them getting that in. So, I mean, it's a big task, yes.
Mr. Mayor, when did you say the deadline was to get this in effect by January 1? So you said 3 months, right?
Probably October 1st it would need to be.
You know, the worst thing about it is the timing. It's pretty back, we're already talking about a pretty good tax increase.
Yeah, exactly, but.
And then when you add another 6 cents,
And
that's gonna
I
be.
guess, you know, I'll have to say that I brought this to the budget committee. If it had been March 1st or July 1st, obviously I think it would have been better than June 3rd.
Right.
But I don't feel like that in my case and for the budget and for the council to just sit and not start open discussion.
But I mean, for us, the timing is
Yeah,
real bad.
it is.
We're already got people upset about the tax increase.
It is, it really is.
And then you add another 6 cents, it'll really start lynching people.
Heard somebody.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. We've had questions and discussion. Ms. Lacy, if you'll do a roll call for us.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to table this discussion. And I know that we're about to vote on the budget, but it hasn't passed the second reading. I don't think anyone wants to add an additional 6 cents or 10 cents, because it looked like there might have been agreement, like we're gonna fund it, we should fund the whole thing and not pay interest. So I'm gonna make a motion that we table this discussion.
You want to table this motion for the extra 6 cents?
For the extra 6 cents and enrolling county employees in the retirement program. Until we've got more information.
Is there a second to table it?
So if it's second, does that open the discussion about it? Yes. All right, I'll second. So my question to do that is, are we gonna tie this to the budget if we table it, or what's your thought process with it?
So if the budget passes, we wouldn't be looking at this program again until next year, but if it took a lot of work to pull all that payroll data, we should have all those old records, so we'd just be looking at adding another year. So we would be looking at this again next year if this budget passes. If this budget doesn't pass this second reading, then we can look at this program in this budget.
So, I don't know if I follow all that.
If you don't pass it on this budget and we
I
pass the
don't think
second
it's
reading.
dead.
Well, that's what I don't want it to be, because I think we need more information. be able to tie it to our budget, correct? Or you're saying?
You can't tie it to the budget
It's
if it
gonna
passes
be-
the second reading tonight. If this isn't added to it, the only option you have left would be what's Sloan.
I mean, there's a couple ideas out there, Greg, and one of them is that, you know, we do have the money, the $1 million or $1.5 million out there. If it doesn't pass, we could still move forward with trying to implement it, pay the retirement with the money that we already have, and then figure out how to fund it in the next budget cycle. That'd be postponing it, but yeah. It wouldn't be postponing the implementation, but it would be postponing how we're gonna pay for it.
Okay, I see.
We may be taking the money out of debt service, which to me is, I personally didn't like the idea of taking money out of debt service because I was concerned about making sure we keep on top of our debt. But figuring out how we're gonna pay for this is the item that I think we gotta figure out. So I'm not necessarily against tabling it, but I don't want us to table it thinking it's gonna delay it a year.
Right.
We're gonna try to keep figuring out how to do it, but let's do it with full knowledge of what we're doing. I just think it came in so quick that it's really hard to tell. And there's a lot of questions, like Jimmy said, there's a lot of questions I still have about the details, and it's not that I'm against it, I'm for it. I mean, we put the money back 3 or 4 years ago to try to figure out how to do it, so I think we just need to figure out, make sure we're doing it the right way.
So you're saying once he has that meeting, we can take that $1.5 million, we can enter the program with that $1.5 million.
That's an idea.
Well, yeah, that's one.
I mean, we've got some ideas, but
Right,
we
but
don't
that's
have
what-
anything firm.
That's what, right, but
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
you were saying.
Yeah.
And then hopefully come up with a way to pay for it later.
What, because that $1.5 million is ARPA money, right?
Yeah.
What happens if we don't pass it this year?
It's our money. It's our money. I've been told that we're not gonna lose it.
So if this does not pass this budget season, that money would still be available as long as we don't spend it next year to implement this program.
Maybe an issue with that, because you may have to redo the salary study, which is gonna cost more money and more time through the state, because I think the salary study is good for 1 year.
You'd be great. We've got all that old data. How much, do we know how much salary study was?
Well,
The interest that we're looking to lose on what we're talking about pulling out of debt service is more than that. I mean, I guess the interest would be paying.
Well, you would think it wouldn't be as bad because they don't have to go back 40 years. But
Right.
they got that data, what they have to do with that on, but I didn't do the study, so I don't know for sure.
Wouldn't we be smart to wait till we had all the information to make a decision?
That's what we're about to vote on.
I mean, that's what we need to do, is wait, because going up on taxes, there's ways to cut the budget, everybody's budget, to where we don't have to go up as much on taxes. And you've got a handful of things that you've got to do to abide by the rules and regulations, but there's money there marked as other and this, that, and the other, that we have no clarification on what other is. And we are one of the few counties in Tennessee that pays 80% of your health insurance. Like some of the surrounding counties, they pay $200 or $250 toward your health insurance. Moore County pays 80%. So we could look at reducing that, and everybody wants to match all the other counties. Well, we could match all the other counties doing that. And that would give us $1 million or so to put back in this budget to do what we need to do and not raise taxes.
A lot of counties also surrounding here, if you're single on insurance, they pay 100%.
Single.
Yep. But you gotta put that information out there too. You can't say they just paid $200. You gotta count all the single people that we're paying for as
And
well.
some of them just
That's
get
misinformation and
200.
misleading to all these people that's here to represent.
And some of them just get $200 or $250, and they're single or a family or whatever. The
I tell
employee
you what,
pays
Peggy,
the
I don't know
employee.
any county around that's paying $250 for an employee for health insurance. I don't know anybody doing that. Who is that?
Surrounding county.
Which one?
Point one.
Huh?
Give one.
Bedford County?
No.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second to table the tax levy that did include the TCRS figures. So, Ms. Lacy, if you will do roll call for us.
Don't we vote on his motion first, and table it or not?
Yes.
Vote on it first.
That's what we're doing.
I thought we were strictly talking about the tax.
No, we're talking about tabling.
Table, okay.
Yes, sir. So this is to table
Or not.
or not to table the TCRS motion.
Wait until we get more information.
Okay, so just so we're clear, if you vote yes, you vote to table it. If you vote no, you don't want to table it and you want to try to vote on that tonight. Yes, sir.
Hey, Amy, is
Yes,
that
sir.
2/3 or majority?
This is related to tabling a motion.
And this be a majority.
I know to bring it off the table is 2/3.
Yeah.
To bring it
back
off
is
the table would be 2/3, but does it require 2/3 to put it on the table? Majority.
To table it, but it's
That's what I
2/3
thought.
to bring it off the table.
We're just, to table a motion, it's majority.
Mark, yeah, but to bring it backwards
Yes, sir.
is 2/3.
Okay.
So,
Majority.
I got a question. If we table it, or is that based on, we're gonna wait to see what we find out on Sloan and bring it back up? And if we don't table it and we say no, are we still basing that on Sloan to see if we bring it back up?
So we have some options, right? So to bring it off the table, somebody has to bring it off the table at the next meeting. Okay? But that's just the TCRS. Whether it goes or not, there are options on budget tonight. Clear? Anybody have questions?
So part of what Sloan said was that the employees, I guess when you talked to them, possibly said that foregoing their raises would be an option. If we pass the budget tonight, that's no longer an option.
I think that would be in future years.
Was that future years or just?
Future. Future.
Future.
It's an option.
If we table this and pass a budget without it, we aren't paying the whole amount in this budget cycle. So it sounds like we might be able to get into the program partially and then figure out how to pay the rest of it.
By October.
So, okay, is everybody clear on what we're voting on? To table or not to table? So if you vote yes, you're going to vote, you're tabling the TCRS levy. If you vote no, it's not going on the table. Any questions? Okay, Ms. Lacy.
Jimmy Hammond.
No.
Gerald Burnett.
Yes.
Dexter Golden.
No.
Amy Cashern.
Yes.
Otis Bobo.
No.
Bradley Dye.
No.
Marty Cashern.
No.
Darrell Richards.
Yes.
Robert Bracewell,
Yes.
Greg Glenn,
Yes.
John Taylor,
Yes.
Douglas Carson,
Abstain.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
Yes.
Shane Taylor.
Abstain.
So we have 8 yeses. So the yeses have it. We will table the TCRS included numbers for the tax levy.
Need a motion for the second reading of the budget. I'll make it.
Okay, so we do have, first reading was last month of the tax levy as presented in your packet. There's a motion for second reading of that tax levy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Houston with the second. All right, any discussion?
I have a question. Shouldn't we wait on this until we find out what's going on with the other?
That is not.
I mean, we don't have to have it passed today?
Or we can just start over, just like we didn't pass it.
I mean, I guess all of those are options, but what's on the floor right now is
But
the budget.
like the old budget without the increase.
Yes, sir. The
Without all
budget
the-
that was included in your packet.
So what's on the table now is the budget without all
passed.
the information. We don't have all the information.
We have the same information we had last month when the first reading passed, and that's all we're talking about. Budget, just as it was presented last month. So, we have a motion and a second.
I want to say before this is voted on, in case people leave, in the last month, we've all read and heard different things. We heard tonight how we're a community and how the young man stand up here and say how proud he is of our community, and I appreciate that. But going forward and in the future, let's all think about what we've said and how we've said it and who we've said it about and how we've said it. And let's abstain from that, because that's not a good example for our kids. Let's do a little better. Let's do a little better, all of us, let's do a little better. I'm not for this budget. I think it's inflated. I could sit here and tell you 100 reasons why, but it's futile. I'm gonna vote. That's my job, to look at it, see what I think. I can't tell the school how to spend their money, so it's not my job to fix it. I can only look at it, see what I think, and vote on it. That's what I've been told, that's what I'm gonna do. But let's, going forward, be civil and be professional about it. That's what I gotta say.
All right.
So there was a question that got brought up specifically about the school budget, or the number of personnel employed with the school system last time. So I had sent a list of questions to Mr. Moorhead, and I told him privately, but I just wanted to thank him publicly for quickly getting me the information back. Like, he has been nothing but forthcoming with everything that I've asked for. So thank you, Mr. Moorhead. But going through and looking at the salaries that we've been paying out over and against inflation, right? We've gone from an enrollment in the year 2006, and this is just as far back as he's been there, I believe. We had 947 students then enrolled. We're down to 847 students enrolled in 2024. So we dropped 100 students. And this is just the salary totals. This is not all of the school budgets, because obviously that's going to be more. But our salary payout that we've paid has gone from, I'm just going to shorten this to about 4.5 million up to 7.1 million. 7.2 actually, it's 7.191. And when you adjust for inflation, that number should be about 7,050,000. So we're a little bit ahead of inflation when it just comes to the teacher's salaries, just over. So, and that's not individual salaries, that's gross salaries. However, when you look at the number of employees that the school had, their list is 217 employees in the year 2006. In the year 2024, it's 218 employees. But that number, that base number, is a little misleading. If you look into it, that's all the substitute teachers and everything. So when I removed everyone who made less than $600, so if you've got a cafeteria worker that shows up, works for a day, and then disappears, that's added as one employee. We went from 150 employees up to 184 employees in the school system that made more than 600. And I use 600 just because I own my own business. If you pay someone more than $600, you gotta give them, W-2, 1099, whatever it is. So I just used that number. If I had used $1,000, it would have been skewed a little more heavily towards, we've got 34 more people than we used to with 100 fewer students. Some of those are going to be state and federal mandates for additional personnel, but our staffing has grown substantially at this school system. And we heard about all the new programs that they offer, but given that there are a myriad of questions on this and the interworkings of it, obviously I'm going to be a no. But it's unfortunate that it made it this far because it doesn't look like it was nearly as scrutinized as it should have been by other bodies before it got to us. And just like this pension plan, we get no information and then it gets tossed in our laps and asked to pass it. So that's one data point that I can present as to why I'm a no. I've got a lot more.
All right, Ms. Lacy, if you can do roll call for us.
Shane Taylor,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
No.
Houston Lindsay,
Before I answer, I have a budget statement. Because my wife is an employee of Moore County School System, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted on. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my constituents, or conscience to my obligation to my constituents and citizens of this body represent. But yes.
Douglas Carson,
Yes.
John Taylor,
I've got the same thing Houston had there. I have a conflict of interest. My wife works for the schools, but I'm voting on behalf of my constituents, and my vote is yes.
Greg Gwynn,
No.
Robert Bracewell,
No.
Daryl Richards,
No.
Marty Cashin,
Because my spouse is a member of the Moore County School Board, I have a conflict of interest that's on this proposal about me voting for. However, I declare my vote, I answer only to my conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and the citizens of this body I represent. My answer is
Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Arvis Bobo,
Yes.
Amy Cashin,
Similarly, because my spouse is on the school board, it's a conflict of interest, but I'm voting according to my own conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and citizens of the body I represent. Yes.
Dexter Golden,
Yes.
Gerald Burnett,
Yes.
Jimmy Hammond.
No.
So we have 10 yeses. The budget passes. Okay, so that's the tax levy. Now we go to appropriations that was in your packet. Resolution for the appropriations for 25-26 budget. Is there a motion to approve those?
Motion.
Gerald with the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
John with the second. Any discussion? If not, Ms. Lacy, if you'll do roll call for us.
Jimmy Hammond,
Yeah.
Gerald Burnett,
Yes.
Dexter Golden,
Yes.
Amy Cashin,
Yes.
Arvis Bobo,
Yes.
Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Marty Cashin,
Yes.
Darrell Richards,
Yes.
Robert Bracewell,
No.
Greg Gwynn,
No.
John Taylor,
Yes.
Douglas Carson,
Yes.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
No.
Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. We have 12 yeses, so that passes. We have a nonprofit resolution in your packet. This is making appropriations to our nonprofit charitable organizations from this budget. Is there a motion to approve or for that resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Shane with the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Douglas, second. Any discussion?
Why don't we give away more of other people's money? We could find nice.
Stop.
It's a valid question.
No, the sarcasm is what I'm saying stop with. You have a valid, you can say whatever you need to. If you want to propose new charitable contributions, that's fine. Sarcasm is no.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any other charities that you would like to propose during the budget process?
No, that's over.
Okay. So, Ms. Lacy, if you can have roll call for us.
Jimmy Hammond,
Yeah.
Gerald Burnett,
Yes.
Dexter Golden,
Yes.
Amy Cashin,
Yes.
Arvis Bobo,
Yes.
Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Marty Cashin,
Yes.
Darrell Richards,
Yeah.
Robert Bracewell,
No.
Greg Gwynn,
Yes.
John Taylor,
Yes.
Douglas Carson,
Yes.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
No.
Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, 13 yeses, so that passes. The next one is the tax levy resolution, which designates how many pennies of the total are going into each individual fund. Should have a copy of this in your packet. Entertain a motion to approve this resolution for the tax levy.
Motion to approve.
Bradley with the motion, Gerald with the second. Any discussion? If not, Miss Lacy, if you'll do roll call for us.
Jimmy Hammond, Gerald Burnett,
Yes.
Dexter Golden,
Yes.
Amy Cashin,
Yes.
Artis Bobo,
Yes.
Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Marty Cashin,
Yes.
Darrell Richards,
Nope.
Robert Bracewell,
No.
Greg Glenn,
No.
John Taylor,
Yes.
Douglas Carson,
Yes.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
No.
Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, so 10 yeses. That passes. Okay, so we do have the 4-H van to declare it as surplus. This is the Chevrolet van.
I'll make a motion to make the declaration surplus.
Shane with the motion. Jimmy with the second. Any discussion?
Is this the van that we provided funds for years ago? Like, is this the old one that we replaced? Like that?
Yes.
The old worn out.
I just want to make sure.
The
because
one that we just replaced.
I thought it was like 2 years ago that we replaced it, so I just didn't.
I think they just got it in.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I think we have some budget amendments that were included in your packet. How do you want to do these?
I'd really like it if anybody had any questions, they could ask them, but those are mainly budget amendments to move money from one account to the next, take care of some grants. Don't know that there was any, so just look through them. So the first one I've got is the 101 54 110 vehicle M&R. Y'all have that one? Is this is yours, Jason, I think. What? 54 110.
So that whole sheet?
That whole sheet, there's several sheets from the sheriff's office. Probably the grant on that sheet of 91,000 was probably the biggest account, and that's just, they're spending that money as they need to. It's some money that's on hand, and they're using it for what they're supposed to use it for. Tyler, do you want to say anything about it?
That's just Jason's.
I think that is Jason's.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
I was just moving money back to the sheriff's vehicle line on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Taking care of different fees and refunds and stuff like that. I don't think there's anything on there that is taken out of fund balance. The next sheet I've got, that's a continuation of moving some money from part-time and overtime, moving those between the different accounts. Again, I don't believe that's taking anything out of fund balance. It's just moving some money around between the two different cost elements. Those are Jason's too. Next one is the one that starts with deputy. This is Tyler's budget. Again, I don't know that there's anything coming out of fund balance. It's all moving money between the different accounts. Right?
There is one amendment that's pulling money out of fund balance, and it is for inmate medical care. I told you, I briefed you all last month on that. They're on one of the sheets, and I don't remember if it's on. I don't know exactly which one it's on.
It's on the one that
It'd be
starts
number
with
3.
the
If you look
long
at the bottom, it
session.
says sheet number 3, 2025.
Anything going on right on that.
At the very bottom of that sheet, it says sheet number 3.205, 2025. And that is taking some money out for medical, inmate medical. Anything else, Tyler?
Not sure the rest of them are just line or
Reimbursements.
reimbursements.
Okay. I'd like motion to approve those budget amendments.
I'll second.
I didn't catch the second. Okay, thank you.
Please.
Sheriff, Taylor. Stop it. Cheryl and Any discussion? If not, Miss Lacy, if you'll do a roll call for us.
Shane Taylor,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn,
No.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Douglas Carson. John Taylor,
Yes.
Greg Glenn,
Yes.
Robert Bracewell,
Yes.
Dale Richards,
Yes.
Marty Cashin, Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Harvis Bobo,
Yes.
Amy Cashin, Dexter Golden, Joe Burnett,
Yes.
Jimmy Hammond.
All right, the next one is the solid waste. It talks, y'all have that sheet in your packet. Sloan put these before the budget committee, we approved these. Anything you want to?
There are some fund balances on those, but there's gonna be money left over in some fuel line and some maintenance line, but it gets kind of tricky this time of year finishing off the garbage, so. But what's left over in another line is gonna roll to your fund balance, so it's gonna be a wash in the long run. Where else we got? There's a capital project for the lawnmowers.
Yeah, we approved that last month.
Then the county general, I eat a few lines in my office on some supplies and so forth, because I buy the supplies for all the other departments. There's some money left in them that'll roll over as well. Then the election, there's elections hitting fund balance, because a lot of that money in the election was reimbursed before July 1st this past year because of the last March election, but the money is already in the county general revenue, but the expense didn't come out till this time. So it does look like it is hitting fund balance, but like I said, a lot of those grants were prior to this. What's next?
Lifeguards.
Oh, the lifeguards. Y'all can tell the other night down here, we make a big splash in the pool, but a lot of that's to try to keep our lifeguards paid up. So. And a lot of it'll be made up of recreation fees.
Make a motion to approve those budget amendments for the solid waste capital projects and county general.
Okay. Is there a second? Shane with a second. Any discussion? All right, Ms. Lacy, if you do a roll call for us.
Jimmy Hammond. Gerald Burnett.
Yes.
Dexter Golden.
Yes.
Amy Cashin.
Yes.
Harvest Bobo.
Yes.
Bradley Dye.
Yes.
Marty Cashin.
Yes.
Daryl Richards.
Yeah.
Robert Bracewell.
Yes.
Greg Gwynn.
Yes.
John Taylor.
Yes.
Douglas Carson.
Yes.
Houston Lindsay.
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn. Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Yeses have it.
Okay, we got the school budget. It's an amendment. Chad brought this to us the other night. The bottom line on that one is the budget amendment adds $285,000 in revenues and expenditures are $86K less than what we estimated, so it's a good amendment. All in favor of the county, so make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the school.
I'll second.
John with a second. Any discussion? If not, Ms. Lacy, if you do a roll call.
Shane Taylor.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Peggy Sue Blackburn. Houston Lindsay.
Yes.
Douglas Carson.
Yes.
John Taylor.
Yes.
Greg Gwynn.
Yes.
Robert Bracewell.
Yes.
Daryl Richards.
Yes.
Marty Cashin.
Yes.
Bradley Dye.
Yes.
Harvest Bobo.
Yes.
Amy Cashin.
Yes.
Dexter Golden.
Yes.
Gerald Burnett.
Yes.
Jimmy Hammond.
Okay, yeses have it.
Was it in the packet? Yeah, so you guys got an extra sheet tonight on 14.8 for replacement of an HVAC. This year's top?
Yes.
The budget committee has not looked at this, but you want to speak to it?
About 2 months ago, one of the big package units that feeds the female side of the jail completely died. We had a service company come out and look at fixing it, and they said there was no fixing it, so we had to replace the unit. The money's coming out of the litigation tax, which is a reserve account paid for by court fees.
Make a motion to approve?
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Houston with a second. Any discussion, questions? If not, Ms. Lacy, if you do a roll call for us.
Jimmy Hammond.
Yep.
Gerald Burnett.
Yes.
Dexter Golden.
Yes.
Amy Cashin.
Yes.
Harvest Bobo.
Yep.
Bradley Dye.
Yes.
Marty Cashin.
Yes.
Daryl Richards.
Yes.
Robert Bracewell.
Yes.
Greg Gwynn.
Yes.
John Taylor.
Yes.
Douglas Carson.
Yes.
Houston Lindsay.
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn.
Yes.
Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, so that passes.
We had one more in the packet, I think, from the MUD, but I don't know if that's the final one or not, so. Is that, Bonnie, is that the right one?
You should be.
Would you like to speak to it? Because I don't know what's,
Well, it's just there where we went to the board meeting the other night there, and we just gotta move money around from one account to another account to finish out the year.
okay.
It's something.
Does anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Greg with the second. Any discussion? If not, Miss Lacy, do roll call for us, please.
Jimmy Hammond,
Yep.
Joe Burnett,
Yes.
Dexter Golden,
Yes.
Amy Cashin,
Yes.
Harvis Bobo,
Yes.
Bradley Dye,
Yes.
Marty Cashin,
Yes.
Daryl Richards,
Yes.
Robert Bracewell,
Yes.
Greg Glenn,
Yes.
John Taylor,
Yes.
Douglas Carson,
Yes.
Houston Lindsay,
Yes.
Peggy Sue Blackburn, Shane Taylor.
Yes.
Okay, yes, let's have it.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, we will move on then to old business. This is the rezoning of the 26 High Street property from C2 to I1. This is second reading. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Shane with the motion, Miss Peggy Sue with the second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have an entry that says jail report.
So I spoke to you last month about working with OLG Engineering or Architecture to work on a fix for the jail. So they're still finalizing some plans. I was hoping Tim Little, who we've been working with, would be here tonight, but he had a conflict. So we don't have rendered drawings. We have a version of it, but there are a few small things that have changed. I spoke with he and his architect about giving us some type of price range about what we were looking at, and just so you all understand the scope of the work, we're talking about food service equipment, so replacing kitchen service and stuff like that inside the kitchen. Remodeling some of our booking and our intake area to make those areas a little bit bigger and work a little bit better. The biggest item was the roof. We had them go ahead and give us worst case scenario and on replacing the entirety of the roof instead of just fixing it. And we asked about standing seam. The standing seam number was very high, very high. And then there was about a $25,000 allowance in there for roof truss repair from the damage from the water leak over time, the rot. So the range of that was $875,000 to $1,025,000 or $1,025,000. I have since talked to him about removing that standing seam option and just going back with the existing metal and changing the fasteners inside. That should greatly reduce the cost of that part of the project. So we're probably looking somewhere in the $600 to $850 range, somewhere there to get it fixed, to do everything that we have listed here. Again, the idea of funding this would be to put it into debt service on a 10 or 12-year note. But it would be a long-term solution rather than a short-term fix. Outside of that, we haven't really changed the floor plan. We're not changing much on the floor plan. We are moving we're moving 2 walls, or removing 2 walls to add space and to make that booking area larger and make it a little bit safer for what we need. So our plan from here would be to finalize the drawings, and once that is done, we would bid the project, and we would bring the bid to the council to either approve or disapprove. Any questions?
Thanks for the update. Under other committee reports, planning and zoning.
I don't have anything from the planning and zoning, but the one thing I do have, you should have a copy of it in your packet. It concerns the Powell Hollow Road. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the old landfill. Half of that road is in Moore County. I say half of that, the first part of it. The rest of that road runs into Bedford County. There was some building permits issued on Bedford County's end, not realizing it was a private road. They went forth and built. Once they realized it was a private road, Bedford County had to shut down any more building permits. Now, with that being said, they kind of put themselves in a bind, if you will. We had a house on the Moore County side get built, but it abuts a public road. To service the houses on the back side that runs into Bedford County, we would need to adopt the first portion of the road, which is a very small amount. I believe Shannon said we go by tenths, and it's less than a tenth. Basically, just that first house is all Moore County's taking. The rest of it is Bedford County. The road is built extremely well, to what I understand. Shannon understands as well. We have contacted the landfill people. They have agreed to turn that road over because nobody really knows who owns that road. We just assumed the landfill did, but between the person I talked to in Milwaukee and Atlanta, nobody really understood. So they were willing to do a quick claim for us to take the portion of the road that Moore County needs to. And Bedford County has agreed to take their end, which is significantly more. But this will make it right by the homeowners that were sold permits and built houses to receive public services. You're welcome to ride out and look at the road. Again, we're only going to take it to the Moore County line, which is basically, one more time, just the first house, less than a tenth. The road is paved. I think Shannon is going to require maybe one or two other things from the people wanting this done, and that can happen pretty quickly, not a problem there. But I've been working on this for quite some time now. Shannon's helped me with it. I'd like to see this put to bed. I think it is the right thing to do. So I'd like to get the first part of that road that's on us adopted.
A motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second.
So we have a motion by Dexter and a second by Bradley. Any discussion, questions?
Is the Moore County portion connected to Powell Hollow Road? This right down here is where, that's where it's at?
Yes,
How
we're
far
going to
out
just
is it?
take that first line right there that you see on that road. That'll be as far as we go in.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
That's not far.
It's not very far. I mean, it's not a gravel road, it's not it's a well-maintained road from when the dump was in operation.
So what you're talking about right here.
106 feet.
Yes, just that first line.
So just for clarification, how does that work with the sheriff and EMS? You get a call out there, you're not gonna say, well, we're not Moore County. That's right.
We're gonna handle it.
I just want to.
It's that way in all of our borders. We answer calls in other counties, and they help us as well.
All it really affects is the road and property taxes.
There's just a little bit more to add to it. There's other lots that we're planning to sell out there, and they have since been held up because they cannot get a permit issued to sell them. But yet the other houses were already issued permits, so in my mind, this was the right thing to do to clear that up. If we were adopting more than a tenth, if it was a gravel road, I would be concerned with it. I think Shannon feels comfortable with this. I don't want to speak for her, but I think it's the right thing to do. We're basically taking one house, just the first part of the road you turn in. Bedford County will maintain the rest of it. We spoke with them.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that it for you?
That's all I've got.
Any other committees need to report? Council members, any questions, comments before we close?
I've got some comments, Madam Chair, and some questions for the Budget Committee, specifically the Chair. So the meeting that was held on Tuesday, June 6th, was that posted anywhere?
Yes, it was.
Where was it posted?
Courthouse and county room.
Is there a reason that the mayor's secretary was unable to find it? And then when I contacted the
Well, the
courthouse.
mayor's secretary don't always post these things, so I post them a lot of times myself. You don't even know where, that I've even posted or what, you know.
They
They're
weren't
posted, they were posted on boards.
They weren't.
I disagree with you on that.
That's fine, Mr. Mayor. I mean, we don't have to redo our private conversation. But is there a reason that you recessed from that meeting on Tuesday, Mr. Burnett?
In case something came up that we needed to follow up and ask questions about, we wanted to be able to do that without us having to wait a certain period of time to do it.
So between Tuesday and tonight, you wanted the ability.
Yeah, if we needed to. We talked about getting together.
Without public notice again.
We talked about getting back together again to talk about what we talked about tonight.
Thursday, Friday, or Saturday morning. And it is my understanding that the mayor advised you that a recess was an acceptable means of halting a meeting and then continuing it again without providing public notice.
The mayor did not do that. I made the motion to recess.
You may, but I'm saying the mayor advised you that that was permissible. So
The
here's
mayor can
the
advise
email.
all he wants, but I made the motion.
That's fine, Mr. Dye, but here's the letter from CTAS asking them specifically about this instance because Robert's Rules of Order says that a recess is a short temporary break, bathroom break, lunch break, what have you. CTAS says we believe that they can recess to a later date and they have to give public notice of that later date. So when I looked up the resolution that this body passed in 2022, regarding ethics, because to me, this appears to be a violation of the Sunshine Law, Tennessee Code 844. We're all familiar with it. And the intent, as stated just now, of placing a meeting into recess was to have the capacity to reconvene without providing public notice. This is the second time that I'm aware of that this has happened, because it happened 2 years ago, and I found out about that meeting the day that it was scheduled, arrived, told the same budget committee that they were in violation of this law. This is the second time that this has happened. So, do we have an ethics committee? Because I called down to the courthouse today, couldn't find out who was on that. The mayor's supposed to appoint a 5-member ethics committee.
No. The mayor don't appoint the meetings. The mayor may make a suggestion. The Metro Council has to appoint committees and boards and all. All it is
We
is
adopted.
suggestion.
We adopted, right?
I don't
You-
appoint.
you need to
It's
provide
recommended.
us.
It's recommended.
I believe 2 years ago, or
Yep.
a year ago,
July
we approved
20.
a ethics board.
So,
So it should be in your packet.
a county
At some
ethics
point in time.
committee consisting of 5 members shall be appointed to 1-year terms by the county mayor with confirmation by the county legislative body.
Exactly, the confirmation. Would you bring this before the board?
I'm asking who I filed this ethics complaint with, because we've got the budget committee chair attempting to conceal meetings multiple times at the advice of the mayor.
I guarantee you that I was not trying to conceal anything. I'm gonna tell you this, that we were working on a budget. And sometimes that requires iterations back and forth to get a budget where we can bring it before the council. Now, we were trying to follow the rules, so I don't know, there was no intention of trying to violate any ethics complaint, whatever, file whatever you want to file, Robert, but, you know, we were just trying to follow the rules and get the thing done, so.
I would believe in that instance, if Mr. Gerald had recessed that meeting, there'd be no difference in the House recessing for some time. I mean, they do it for months sometimes. So, I mean, I see no difference in that.
So it comes across like you're accusing us of trying to hide something. And
That's
what
what-
we are doing is working on a budget. And that is, we are not trying to hide anything. We brought everything to the table for you guys to look at. So,
And I would like a copy of all of those minutes to see if there was another conflict of interest that occurred during that, because we had 3 members vote on this budget tonight. So Mr. Lindsay's household income went up by $6,993.
Hey, excuse me, we're not talking about anybody's personal income in
This-
here. We are
this-
not talking.
This is.
No.
It's not personal income, this
It
is their
is.
conflict of
You're
interest.
not gonna talk about
So-
personal income in this body. You're not going to.
Madam Chair.
Did you hear my budget statement, Robin? Did
I'd
you
say that
hear
was-
that?
I heard it.
Okay, thank you.
Since this is a one-sided argument, it really doesn't.
It is-
Personal names and their salaries is not public knowledge.
I said Mr. Lindsay.
I don't care what you
He's a
said.
public figure.
Personal information
His
about
private
people's
income is
salaries
not open to the
It's-
public.
is
I said
not
his
public
household
information. No,
Once again, you include his private income when you talk about household income.
So
it's not.
it'll be public soon enough.
That should not be posted. You were given that as a council member. It is not public knowledge, Mr.
The
Bracewell.
budget and access to tax records. The budget and access to tax records.
The budget and the
Budget
tax records are public.
and
Their personal names associated with their salaries is not
False.
public information.
False.
It's not. You can go look up their budget. It does not have names on their budget.
That's
That was
fine.
given to you as courtesy, and it should never have been published with their names and their salaries on it. Period.
GovSalaries.com.
No. Would you like yours to be published? No, nobody wants
$51 and some
that.
change.
So, we're done. That should not be published. If you want to talk about ethics, that is a violation. Okay,
Do we have an ethics committee, I guess?
we probably do. Let's look it up.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I've got a comment.
Excuse, hold on just a second. I appreciate your motion. But we do have one thing of business. If you have any uncashed checks from the council, please make sure that you see Miss Sheila before June 30th to get those resolved. So if you have checks from the council that you haven't cashed, please try to get that resolved before the end of the year.
When I ran for council, I was encouraged to do so. And I really thought that in the past, that it would get better than it has been in the past 8 years or so as far as spending and tax revenues. I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, but it's been massive. It continues to be massive. I personally know people that cannot pay their taxes. It happens. I also know of an instance where a person went to pay their taxes and didn't have the money, and an employee at the courthouse took it out of their pocket, and paid it, and that person never know it. And this whole thing has come to bad. So I'm gonna leave this right here. I wish you all well. I'm done. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
What is that, resignation?
We have people in the budget.
Have we voted on that?
Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Do we have to let somebody? Well, there you go.